High on Life is the latest game from Rick and Morty co-creator and founder of Squanch Games, Justin Roiland. So if you're a fan of Roiland's, you very much know what to expect in this game. Raunchy jokes, social commentary, and a ton of geeky shit. This is High on Life. Just so y'all know, I played this on the Xbox One, and I found this version to be a bit choppy, and definitely some of the face and hair animation doesn't look great compared to the next gen, obviously. I also had a bunch of jagged lines and pretty long load times, but really nothing that makes the game unplayable. From the start, Roland's comedy and just the way he talks comes flooding in. With that signature raunchy comedy and the script that feels like there's actually no script at all and it feels like it's all coming off the top, where he even laughs at the end of it as if it were a throwaway line, with a lot of cursing and that signature stuttering, some of it intentional, some of it unintentional.
So this is Blim City. Not bad, huh? I don't know how we're gonna find Gene though. Let's just ask around. There's all kinds of aliens out here. Let's just ask. He is famous.
But the same vibes that the rest of his projects have. Of course, it's littered with gaming references and even commentary on the gaming industry as a whole. He makes fun of DLCs and super meta jokes, like explaining things that every other game does, like the fact that while in combat, recharging your power shots take longer than when you're not in combat. So his writing is really revolved around his observations of cross gaming and in this game and him talking to the game.
Okay, I gotta recharge. It doesn't take too long, but it's a little longer when there's enemies nearby. You know, my body gets too tense. It's like trying to piss when someone's watching, you know?
Or him simply saying, oh, we must be close to the boss because these enemies are tougher. Stuff like that. But it really makes it feel like the guns are talking to you. And boy, do they talk. They talk during combat, out of combat. They interact with each other. They interact with the world. There's also some dialogue you have to choose to settle arguments or interact with the guns themselves. But I didn't really feel like these choices really impact the story one way or the other. My point is, there's a ton of talking. That again, if you're a Roiland fan, it's good, it's great, it's fantastic because it's really funny. But if you're not a Roiland fan, that doesn't mean you have to avoid this game completely. You can control the chatter, both the enemy and the guns, and the options, which is cool. In case you find it to be annoying or you don't really like his style, you can still play this game. So, in High on Life, Earth has been invaded by the G3 alien cartel, and they're consuming humans as drugs. After picking up the first scatlian named Kenny, these are the alien race guns, you team up and become a bounty hunter to take down members of the G3 cartel and save humanity. Along the way, you will find more Gatlians, aka the guns, each with its own personality, but most importantly, primary and special shots. Shots that come out of their trick holes, yeah. That's the kind of stuff we're dealing with. Oh, and I can't forget about Knifey either. He a crazy mofo.
Fuck you, I'm gonna carve out your anal cavity. Gonna make it 3 times as big. Your shit's just gonna drop right out of there.
He doesn't just crave stabby violence and is awesome to use, but also serves as your grappling hook.
I'm Knifey. Now use me. Let me fucking stab these cocksucking hands. Oh, fuck yes.
You will upgrade the Gatlians by making them better with normal upgrades like extra ammo and damage, but you can also buy them mods that changes their color and gives them special abilities like bouncy bullets and stuff like that. Each gun feels different, so that's a very good thing, and it also helps that there are drastically different. So Kenny is like your handgun, Gus is like your shotgun kinda, Sweezy is like your machine gun a little bit, and I don't really know what Creature is. I'm gonna leave that one up for debate. I guess I could say he's like a mine gun? Something that shoots mines, something like that. Not really. He's a weirdo, but they're all really fun to use, and combining all of them in a fight feels fast and fluid. Again, each has a special shot that takes a minute or two to charge depending on which gun it is, but there are also items you can pick up to stuff down their face to make them reload faster. There's no ammo to pick up, but they do reload. It's all cooldown based gameplay. You don't really heal, either your health regenerates on its own, but you can pick up shield tanks to help recover your shield. You also use the Gatlians to platform around, this game having some little metroidvania aspects. Some of the platforming doesn't feel like you're supposed to do it that way, or maybe I wasn't supposed to do it that way. But generally, I was able to get to where I wanted to go unless an item I didn't have didn't really let me proceed. Your character will get upgrades along the game as well. They take a minute to eventually get there, but when you do ultimately get them, it opens up the game completely. There's a dodge that works pretty well, You eventually do get a jetpack that, along with Knifey's tethering, you can just swing around, and it offers tons of fun, and it improves the mobility dramatically. Your suit is equipped with a scanner to check for enemies, and it also sets your waypoint. While it highlights important things you can interact with, like the buttons you have to push to proceed or aliens you have to talk to, when it comes to lug-lock chests, these don't really come up until you're in range for this little radar map thingy. It's kind of tough to figure out exactly where it is. It just points you at the general direction, but you don't know if it's above, below, or behind something. So at the start, when I did eventually find the chest, I didn't have the necessary equipment to get it. So definitely don't go chest hunting early on. The game does give you some time to backtrack and lets you explore at your own pace, and you even go back to some of the earlier levels in later missions. What I'm trying to say is, maybe if the chests were highlighted, it would have been a way better way for me to see them and eventually get them. Maybe some people don't like this. I'm blind. I needed all the help I could get. And the chests weren't really that rewarding either, so most of them aren't even worth your time. Some have 100 to 200 pesos, which is the currency in the game, which I love since I'm coming to you from Tijuana, Mexico, so I love that. But yeah, some chests have pasillos in there, others do contain upgrades, but those were few and far between. Most of them had 100 to 200 pesos, so all that work that I did didn't really feel like I got paid off. I wasn't a huge fan or wasn't even comfortable with this waypoint either. It doesn't stay still to a destination you're trying to go. It kind of just guides you through a path. This isn't terrible. I think I just prefer it for the waypoint to stay put on the destination and let me figure out how to get there. I felt like the game did lack maybe a little bit on enemy types. I mean, there are a few, don't get me wrong. Bigger enemies, there are robot enemies, there are ant enemies, but I felt like I needed a few more. The bounty boss battles are also really cool and fun, but again, I felt like it's missing a teeny bit in the creative side as well. All but one are just dodge and shoot. And I know it's a first-person shooter, but it's missing some sort of puzzling, like shoot to open up a weak spot, or shoot to explode something, or do something to like bring down the shield. Instead, you just shoot directly at them while dodging and jumping around. Some don't even have a shield. Again, hopefully you guys don't get me wrong. This is not a huge knock, but it just, I guess it's just me being greedy. But I feel like something like this would have definitely helped the game. And I can almost hear the dialogue too, like, oh, I bet you if you hit it 3 times, he dies, or something like that. Again, don't get me wrong. They're each different. The settings is different. They're really fun. But I just feel like something like this would put it over the top. Have you played this yet? Do you agree with what I'm trying to say? Do you think I'm tripping? Let me know down in the comments. I was a fan of the music though. This is perfect background music for this specific game. There are no traditional cutscenes either. Everything that happens right in front of the character, and it stays in first person for the most part. And I didn't feel the need for them either. I didn't miss them at all. I didn't find the game challenging either. My first death didn't come until like 4 hours in. I'm not bragging. I'm just letting you know what happened. And I'm afraid of Soulsborne games. I played it on normal and came away thinking it's a bit easy. So take that in mind to gauge your level of difficulty to play this in. As a Rick and Morty fan, going in, my main concern for this game was, is it actually a good game or is it just one for the lulz? The lulz are delivered with the signature Roiland vibes, like you having to do goofy paperwork for a bit, having an annoying character chase you around with non-stop talking, stuff like that. But also, really great voice acting helps. They all double dip a lot of the voices you can recognize, especially Roiland, who definitely infinitely dips by voicing a bunch of characters, and a lot of them having that same stutter and end of the sentence repetition for jokes purposes, but I didn't care. That is what separates him from the rest of the people. That's his style. But I can see people not liking him or liking that kind of stuff, but like I said, you can turn it off. Back to the question, is it a good game? And even me playing this on the weakest version out there on the Xbox One, I can say it is. If we put the comedy aside, the gameplay is fun, boss fights are still fun, eventually traversal is really fun, exploration is okay, but most importantly, it feels fresh and it's a new world to explore. Now let's add the comedy on top of it and it's a goofy great time. It's not an Xbox exclusive that's gonna get people to rush out and buy Xboxes, but it is one that if you already have an Xbox and you have the Game Pass, and you're a Roiland fan, I don't see no reason why you're not playing this right now. You should definitely check this one out. And that's High on Life. But let's talk about it down in the comments. Have you played it yet? Do you wanna? Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree? Anything at all? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to always and forever you do you.
All right, let's go home and turn in our first bounty. Hey, you know, that was some pretty solid bounty hunting back there. I mean, don't get too cocky about it or anything, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad. That was some good killing. And I'm somewhat of a killing expert, actually.
I can't wait to see Gene's face when he sees we pulled this off. Let's head back up through the slums tunnel.